It looks a bit different, doesn't it? Let me show you what I did. One of the beautiful things about having this little corner in my room is that I have the space to fit 3 shelving units for growing seedlings. Flowers, vegetables, waking up dahlias, all of the things. I can have this little corner and it's tight, but I'm making it work. However, having all of these units here means that I have lots of shop lights, lots of strip lights in each shelving units. To give you an idea, I have between 4 to 6 strips on each shelf, depending how strong they are. All of that to say is that it makes for a really bright space. And most of the time I have to close my windows, I have to close the blinds, I have to make sure that everything is completely covered on the window part so that my neighbors don't get blasted with that brightness as well. I have timers for all of these lights. They get turned on very early in the morning and they stay on until very late at night. So it's really bright here during the day. And sometimes when I'm working on potting up seedlings, starting more seeds, watering, all of that good stuff, I have to turn off the lights. It's just too bright for my eyes. And yes, I know there are special sunglasses you can get and eye protection and all of that, but I don't really have the time. I cannot really remember to find the sunglasses to go and water my plants. So I have been thinking about it, and I really thought that something that could somewhat diminish or lower that intensity of the lights when I'm here without having to turn off those lights, it will be a great fix. And that's where Hobby Lobby came in. And I basically went to my local Hobby Lobby, found some really thick fabric for a really good deal, and I put some panels down. I didn't sew anything, I just kind of measure and I figure, you know, it's good as it is. I didn't have to do any patching. I am using some small clamps from Home Depot to attach them, and it's perfect. I have only had it for a couple of days now, but I am loving it so far. Right now I have my windows open. I can do things here without having to turn off my lights, and that's a beautiful thing. It's just the little things. So today I am going to show you how I am going to be potting up my petunias and my feverfew into bigger containers. Some of you were wondering how I do this when I start them in tons of seeds in one small container. Super easy, you'll see. But I'm also going to be starting the marigolds that are part of the grow along that I am doing with Carol and with Vita, and I am going to put their information here so you can find them as well. Go check what they're doing. They have the same seeds. We're growing petunias, marigolds, and zinnias, although we haven't started zinnias yet. But we all have videos about how we do this. We all do it differently. We all have different last frost dates, and I think that's a beautiful thing. I just love that you can just be creative, use what you have, and we can all get the same results, beautiful, healthy plants. So I am going to show you how I'm going to pot up the petunias and the feverfew first, and I am going to show you the marigolds towards the end of the video. I am starting by adding a little bit of water to my potting mix. And if you're wondering, I don't use any seed starting mix. Everything is potting mix from the beginning. This is just a personal choice. If you're using seed starting mix to germinate your seeds, then you will want to use something with nutrients like a good potting mix. Or if you're using seed starting mix to pot up your things, you might want to start thinking about introducing a very, very diluted amount of fertilizer. Okay, now that we have all of our little containers filled with potting mix, I am going to start dividing or trying to place things in the bigger containers. This is basically the liner or the saucer for bottom watering. This is the 5x5. Want to tilt anything. It has drainage holes that are more like little lines instead of holes. You can see that. And this is where the water gets absorbed from the bottom. The moment that these petunias were germinated, I started giving them water from the bottom. That's where these guys with the no holes come in handy. But you could also place this in a tray like this. This is easier to move around and just, you know, singly water. And to start dividing these or to start separating them, you really just got to start somewhere. You can use a tool like a little, I don't know, mini succulent spoon thing or like mini thing. You can use some sort of spatula, whatever is easier for you. Or if you just want to start digging around, whatever works for you. I find that a lot of people, especially newbies, are kind of afraid, honestly, to divide these things. But even people that have, you know, done this for a while, they're just afraid to break things. And it's okay. I feel like plants are very forgiving when it comes to dividing and messing the roots. Obviously, you don't want to go wild. You don't want to go savage on them, but, you know. So when I have this, I don't even look for the roots or anything like that. I just make a tiny hole and I place them there, and I make sure, I really want to make sure that you guys do this. Make sure to completely pot, and if it needs extra soil, extra potting mix, make sure that you have a little container with extra, and that everything is just nice and tight in there. Not completely pat it down, but just make sure that there are no air pockets. So that's one. I have 2 plants here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to gently break this like this, and there we go. I don't even have to look for roots or anything like that. With my finger, I'm just making a tiny holder for the roots. And like this guy has like a very long root. I make sure that guy goes at the very bottom. And that's really it. It also helps when you water your seedlings the night before to make sure they're not completely dry. I find that when my seedlings that I'm getting ready to buy are on the wet side, they're easier versus being completely dry. But that's just what works for me. The beautiful thing about this is that there's so many ways that you can do this, and everything works. The key here is just what you're comfortable doing. Try a few things. You can use a coffee spoon, a fork, a butter knife to try to get these guys out. What I'm doing right here is that I'm just seeing where there is a plant. So I'm trying to just get chunks out. That's beautiful. Okay, so I'm gonna get these right here. Look at the roots on that. Hopefully you can see that. Beautiful, beautiful. Having the extra potting mix here on the side, just so that if I need to add more on the sides, it's super helpful. Look at that beautiful thing. Gorgeous. Now I am hoping that these guys can stay here until, oh, I have 2 here. I have 2 seedlings here, and this is what I do. This has beautiful roots here, and this has also gorgeous roots there. Nice. Beautiful. With this one right here, that is just roots. What I'm going to do is I'm not even going to make a hole. Just going to place it on the side here. I'm gonna grab some extra soil, and I am going to add some here like this. Then I'm going to very gently add some on the side. That way it has soil from all sides. Ooh, this one has a big root system. Look at that. Gorgeous. I'm going to use the same soil that I'm digging from the little 5x5. I have all of the petunias here. I have a tray in this, a holding tray for the 2.5 inch, and I have a bottom tray where I'm going to bottom water. So these are perfect. And the reason why I'm going kind of big potting up the petunias is because they're going to be here for a while. So I'm hoping that they can stay here until I transplant them outside. I don't know if that will happen, and more than likely will have to pot them up one more time to something slightly bigger, but we'll see. Now I have the feverfew here. And feverfew I started on the 28th of February, and today is March 19th. So you can see how gorgeous, how beautiful they're growing. So these guys, because I am going to be planting them a lot sooner than the petunias, I don't need to have any big containers for the next size up. So I'm going to use this 6 cell, and these are going to be perfect because here in the next, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks, these guys are going to be getting ready to be transplanted outside. So again, use whatever you have. I could easily try to, you know, just kind of like go around one of the plants and just try to get the roots. And that's as easy as it can be done. And that's one. Or you can come here and be, you know, a little bit more, just kind of make a cut here like a cake and slice a piece out with a bunch of them. Whatever works, whatever makes sense for you, whatever is easier for you, as long as they make it here somewhat in one piece. That's 2, perfect. Going to try to reuse the soil that I have already here because it's great soil. Now right here I have 2 super tiny plants. I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to put them like this here, and that's how they will be planted outside. And these guys will be just fine. And if you are looking at this container, you can tell that I have seeds kind of like everywhere. Ideally, this will be spread out a little bit more, but when you water, when you spray them, sometimes the seeds move. And this is why when I am using these 5x5 containers and I am starting a bunch of seeds at once, I like to spread them everywhere so that when I'm dividing like this, then they're easily like not in one single spot. I don't have like 10 seedlings in one tiny corner. If I have them separated from the very beginning when I start the seeds, it just makes things a lot easier later for me to separate them. Perfect, perfect. And I do have another set of feverfew. This is the second succession. I do have another set that they are they're going to be getting ready for hardening off to be transplanted outside. And I'm actually going to start that today since Have a beautiful day today outside, so I'm going to give them maybe a couple of hours in the shade, then I'll bring them inside, and tomorrow maybe I'll give them half of a day in the shade, and then, you know, by the third day I introduce them to sunlight little by little. Beautiful. Now all of these are going to be bottom water. I don't do anything on the top. Now that the beautiful seedlings are up and going, everything everything that I do as far as watering goes is from the bottom. And now it is time for me to start a bunch of these Durango red marigolds. This is part of the grow along that I am doing with two other lovely ladies. Go ahead and check their YouTubes, check their videos. I will link all of that in the video's description. And I am not new to growing marigolds, but I am new to growing this variety. So I am hoping that they do really, really well. Here are the seeds. Beautiful. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think that I may actually, I think that I want to do another one of these 5x5s because I want a lot of these guys. Normally I buy a couple of trays for my garden. I just pop these guys everywhere around my vegetables. Marigolds are one of those things that help with pushing away, you know, the pests that don't like the smell. I personally love the smell of marigolds. Just reminds me of Day of the Dead, which is kind of like a big deal in Mexico. So I think that I'm going to definitely get another one of these containers. But I'll do that here in a minute. So I am having tons of seeds here. Giannis is pretty good about putting the germination rate when they test the seeds. This one says 97% germination rate. So I know that germination is good. Again, as I'm placing the seeds, I am trying to not have all of them in the same spot. I am trying to just kind of separate them so that when it's time for me to divide them, it's easier. So I'm definitely going to make another one. I probably have about 30 seeds here. I definitely do want plenty of these guys. I am going to grab the same potting mix that I'm using, and then I'm just going to gently cover, not by much. I'm not trying to completely bury these guys, but I'm definitely trying to cover them. And of course, a nice layer of vermiculite. I am going to apply a little bit of spray, just like a mist of water, to make sure that they have plenty of moisture, but I'm also going to tag them. If you guys are participating in the grow along for the petunias, the marigolds, or the zinnias, make sure to tag us, make sure to use the hashtag provided here so that we can see when you post your videos, when you post your beautiful pictures of your seedlings. Thank you for being here, you guys, and I'll see you on the next time.